Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Paul, Chocolate Sayin, and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Come on, Chocolate, you can do it.
He's at work.
I know. I'll give him a second. No, maybe not. Well, very good to have you all the same. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No, not any that I can tell.
Nope, just perspective.
Hey, Arwin.
Boo!
Hello, good to have you.
Hello.
Any signs of axial rotation, the Earth-based variety?
Nope.
Nope.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nope.
Gravity? What's that?
Some nonsense they made up. Any scientific evidence for the nonsense they made up?
You mean equilibrium?
Is there
equilibrium
evidence
would
that
be
they
the
made up this
actual-
nonsense? Yes. There's definitely evidence that they made up gravity.
Yes, there's plenty of evidence that they made up nonsense. You're always right on cue to point that out, Arwin. And there's always evidence of the presupposition. We'll get there too. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Nope.
No. Too many presuppositions in that sentence.
Indeed. What about the distance to the sun? Any evidence of that?
Light in the sky.
Yeah, there's no
You mean the
confirmed
apparent
measured
sun?
distance to the sun.
What was that, Paul?
You mean the apparent sun, or the apparent position, or the apparent something or other?
Yeah, the apparent size of the apparent position of the sun. Yeah, they like to talk about the apparent size and how it doesn't change. Apparent size being not actual size. So the not actual size of the sun doesn't change as it moves to its not actual position. How do you explain that on a flat Earth? I don't. It's nonsense.
Well, you actually don't.
No. You're right, I don't. I have no idea what the sun is or how far it
They
is.
they should change the word from actual to potential. Then they have at least a little wiggle room.
Potential position of the sun. It's potentially there. Might not be though.
No, but then you would suggest that it actually could be there. And I don't
But
think
we get
that's
to
the
use
case.
the word actual.
But that's very unlikely to be the case, or there would be more evidence. Like approachability, actual angular size change, all that.
Well, I was just tying that to, I believe, what Aristotle said about actuality and potentiality. Just having some fun.
You say the actual angular size would change? Because that's a contradiction in terms right there.
Yeah. That's that.
Any
Rick.
evidence that we can have gas pressure, like we all breathe, you know, we're all quite accustomed to breathing gas pressure, air. Any evidence that you can have said gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container for it to press upon? for all the fundamentalists who believe in the vacuum of the sky, otherwise known as outer space.
Well,
No.
maybe if the outer space wasn't actually a vacuum and just pretty much normal air like we know, and it all worked differently. Like, for example, the orbits of planets and suns were not guided by gravity falling, but, for example, on some weird magnetic reel that would keep the momentum going and prevent the friction from it all standing still. Then maybe in that conceptualized outer space, which would be outer gas model, it could work. It's something that I've been thinking upon.
So if it was absolutely nothing like the current rhetoric and what they tell 90% of
Yes.
the Western world, then you might have an explanation. That's handy.
And it would be very cool. There's like old cartoons, science fiction, fantasy cartoons that entertained this, where the people would be literally sailing in space, standing on ships in the open gas universe, and that really struck my mind back then. It's like, wow, what is this? Could it be?
Check it out. Supercurve says, pressure requires a surface. Gas does not. So what, gas is not pressure? Wow. We have some real dumbos in the audience today. Shout out to you, Supercurve. Last but not least, any evidence of the R value?
Evidence
No.
of the R value?
Hey, Sleeping Warrior.
Are we live?
We are live.
Have I missed housekeeping?
What is the actual value of R?
That should answer your question, Anthony.
Roadkill.
Radius.
still on house.
Yeah, just on the last question. Did you have something for any of the others? It's still open if you wanted to address any of the other questions in housekeeping, Anthony. If you've got something special.
No. I'm waiting nicely. I'll wait till it's finished because I've got something excellent.
Unless anybody's got any evidence of R, we are done. Anybody got any evidence of R?
Hold on, I might have some. Let me dig it up.
I think we'll be
Arwen's
waiting a long
got
time, Arwen.
potential R.
Yeah. Let me present my screen. Give you.
Whenever you're ready, I'll present you, Arwen.
All right, there you go.
Hey, that looks like that NASA head guy there.
So what's going to be left of the proof of R?
What it is now. Just zombies coming in telling us that R is real. Right, I think that concludes the housekeeping. Thank you very much indeed, all who took part. Did you have something to present, Anthony?
Not really present. It's something it's somewhat verbal to present because I want to judge some reaction. Do we all remember the great fraudster that is known as Greater Sapien?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember his claim was that he was going to do a north-south? Was it north-south-north or south-north-south or whatever it was? He was going to get a plane and he was going to fly and he was going to prove north to south orbit rotation of north to south traveling of the planet, right?
Sure, he's going to
We all
do. He was going to do a.
Supposedly, yes.
He was going to do a
Yeah,
Michael Palin, right? Pole to pole.
Sorry, say that again.
He was going to do north-south circumnavigation, like pole to pole.
Yes. Well, do you remember the value was 20 grand?
That he ripped off, that he gathered and never spent because it all got cancelled,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I seem to vaguely remember 20 grand being the figure.
Yeah. Well, me and Spurs had a conversation this morning, and Spurs is saying, what would be the one thing that we could do that would absolutely settle this one way or another? And for me, I said, well, to be honest with you, Spurs, the only one thing that I can think we could do would be to fly over the South Pole and come back up the other side and prove that we've basically proved the journey. So he was like, but they'll never accept it because how do we measure it? How do we show the path that we've done? And I said, well, maybe we don't have to. And he said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, if you fly from South America and you end up in the western coast of Australia, at least according to Google Earth, you are literally flying underneath the ball. You've got to be on the western side of Australia. You can't turn up on the east. It's got to be on the west because you pass over the apparent South Pole. So me and Spurs were talking, and he says, I don't think that even if the flight could happen, I don't think that anybody would ever accept it because we can't prove the path. And I said, well, let's just see if the flight is possible. So what I've done is I've rang a chartered airplane supplier in America, and I spoke to a lovely guy called Stefan, and I've got an email price off him for that journey. Now, I don't remember exactly what Greater Sapiens trip was, but I do remember it was 20 grand. Now, for 20 grand, based on the price that this guy's given me, 20 grand's not even going to get you anywhere. 20 grand is nowhere near enough. I rang this bloke today, and I looked up a particular jet. I wanted to know what the longest range jet was that was capable. I don't mean a jumbo. I mean like a Learjet type thing, like a private chartered plane.
Hold on one
and
second.
I wanted to know what the longest flight duration is for these planes.
Hold on, Anthony.
And then I found a company that
can you hear me?
That they could subcontract them in. And then I rang them for a price.
Shut up, Riley.
And basically, he said, "Where do you want to go from? Where do you want to go to?"
Hello.
And
shut up, Riley.
Sniper on deck. Now I've got a sniper on deck.
Okay.
Anthony, you've got verbal diarrhea. For some reason, you can't hear us.
We wanted to know dates and time.
Anthony, can you not hear us? Just had 2 people come in. One of them a sniper, so we'll probably lose the whole panel now. We still got the panel here. Oh, well done, Anthony. Welcome to the show where you don't know. No, you don't know. Could be the work of but a moment. I totally blame Anthony for that. Hello, 10th man.
Hello. Was it something we said?
Yeah, everything we say.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
I'll wait till I get a couple more guests back before I share the link publicly again.
Yeah, I think it could have been that person you were responding to, possibly, with the question. That was weird at the beginning.
Well, hopefully a few of our guests will rejoin.
Arwen just said on Skype, it says too many redirects.
Say again?
Arwen typed in and it said, link isn't work. Wait a minute. Arwen says, too many redirects. Paul just typed in saying link isn't working, but it worked for me.
Okay, no worries. I'll just try again.
Oh, they're on.
Are we back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still live and everything. It doesn't actually affect the flow of the show that much. It's
Yeah,
only 2 minutes of faffing around, that's all.
Nathan, when you put that in there, if you like everything past, if you remember everything past the GB, take out of the link and it'll work.
Yeah, I just forgot
See that in the address.
Yeah, I forgot to take the share link from the Hangout itself rather than the address at the top of the page. Welcome back, Arwen.
You managed to sneak in under the radar and kick everyone?
A sniper on deck.
You wouldn't shut up. Nathan asked you like 4 times. I yelled at you and you didn't shut up. Like, did you put everything else on mute and just thought
I
I'm
must have
gonna
muted the wrong
dialogue for
thing.
5 minutes nonstop?
Yeah, I must have muted the wrong thing. I didn't realize I was being shouted at.
You were, yeah.
It's hilarious.
It was quite funny. Right, has one of you got the back chat open now?
No.
Not yet.
Good job, I asked.
It takes a
I'll
while to
open
get
it up.
Right, let me know when you're all armed and ready, and I'll sit the link out for public again. Hey, Chocolate.
I've got it. Go.
Okay, cool. Did have a new guest that had just joined, so that if you want to refresh your page if you're in the live hangout, you can rejoin now.
Yeah, hello.
Hey, Chocolate.
Yeah.
So where were you, Anthony?
I don't know. I don't know where it was when I got kicked.
Okay, I'm in the back chat. So
You were talking about the guy, and you were at the point where it was going to be a lot more than 20,000 based on your research.
That was for one ticket, just so you know. So there was another organizer who arranged the trip, and one ticket was 20 grand, or it wasn't even
was
that
it?
much. It was somebody else. Hey, CG, can you hear us?
speak up immediately. I think he's the
No,
he's the
it wasn't.
troll.
Hey guys, I'm here.
Okay, good,
Oh.
good. Thanks for saying hello quickly.
Yeah, I've got it up now as well.
So yes, you were saying about the 20 grand that he'd raised. Hey, Billy Wazzer. Hey, Warren.
Oh yeah,
Hello.
Hey, hello.
Brenda's trying to join.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I bet
Fun,
she
I'm
is.
not
fun.
going to be able to whilst I'm in beast mode.
Good.
Sorry, Brenda.
Yay.
You shouldn't have deleted them videos, Brenda, that you're unrepentant for.
And you shouldn't lie to everyone's face like a 6-year-old when you get caught out being an idiot.
So what was the amount then for a chartered flight, pole to pole?
Right, so basically, me and Spurs had a conversation. I decided to make a few phone calls to see if I could actually get somebody to price me. King Benson.
Oh, who was that?
Hey, King.
Hello.
Hello. Good to have you.
So cutting a long story short, I needed specifically this plane because it had a big enough tank to be able to get the distance required for the amount of fuel that's going to get burnt along the way. So I rang up this company and I said, and they're based in America, and I said, right, this is what I need from A to B somewhere in November because I needed to do it no more than 6 months in advance. And he said, okay. He basically went away and he said, how much luggage are you bringing? And I said, like, not that much. He said, okay. He said, if you got less luggage, you can have more people. He said, you can have up to like 12. He said, if you bring proper luggage, like you need somewhere to put the luggage. He said, you can only have like up to 8. I said, we'll take less luggage. And he said, okay. Cutting a long story short, the bottom line is, so the cost it is to literally hire a jet to do the journey from South America over to Perth is $312,000 US. That's to hire the plane, fly there, and fly back. It's 13 hours flight there, 13 hours flight back. It's a long journey, right? It's considered to be business class with toilets and all that. But my point is that it works out if there's 12 people on it, $26,000 US, right? Which is a lot of money for the average Joe Blogs. I get it. But I also think it's not that much money in the bigger scheme of things if we're able to demonstrate this journey can even happen. Obviously, our position is that this journey can't even happen, as Greater Sapien demonstrated. For whatever magical reason, it'll get stopped. But it would be interesting to see if it did actually happen, because the flight, the maximum range on that plane is set to basically the journey that we're on. If we're on a flat plane, it can't go any longer. There isn't a long. You can't get that distance because the continent's distance between them is huge. So on a
Dan,
flat plane,
Ice, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Are you there, Dan Ice?
Say hello.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it's okay. He's there. Yeah, so obviously, if the Earth's a flat plane, then you're probably not going to be able to do this journey. But we're saying on the ball Earth side, you can do the journey. So if the journey does actually happen and they take off in South America and they end up in Perth, there is only one way it can be done.
No, it's not true. That's only if you presuppose the disk flat Earth, or Riley. That's
Well, would you agree that you couldn't fly from South America to Australia on a flat plane within
you
the
can.
tank range?
No
yes,
idea.
you could. Yes, you can. On the rectangular looping model, it's very easy. It's just a straight line.
Yeah, but you'd have to go over South Africa, wouldn't you?
No, South Africa is higher up. It's closer to the equator.
You wouldn't go over snow-capped lands, would you? That you would reasonably describe as Antarctica.
You wouldn't need to.
We're pissing in the wind. None of us know what the continents are laid out like.
Sure,
Right, but there are
my
several
point is that if
possibilities, and the disk only makes it impossible. A rectangular, a regular, like how the map is presented to us, basically.
So
Then
what I'm
it
getting
can
at
just
is,
be a straight line.
what
There's
I'm
no
getting
problem.
at is, as far as I can see, it would be impossible for that plane with the tank size that it has to fly for more than the length of time that it can fly and get into Australia if the Earth's flat, because the distance between that and a ball is significantly different. Whatever that distance is, it's significantly different. But because it's right on the limit on a sphere, and we know that apparently their model tells us predictions about distance, and we know that if that plane's pretty much at its limit, it doesn't give a lot of leeway for that plane to do much other than go over a ball. But at least on a ball, the flight is possible. So what I'm curious to know is, if there was 12 seats available on this jet and it was 25 grand a seat, I don't expect people that are the average me and Nathan kind of people to put their hands in their pockets and pull up 25 grand. But would there be any interest if there were 12 seats available to do this flight, to shut this conversation down if it's wrong? Because basically it's only possible on a sphere, right? If we had, say, 6 flat earthers and 6 ball earthers, for example, on tickets to do that journey, would it? And it was basically lined up to happen. If the journey did happen and the plane landed in Perth, for me, that would show that unless the land masses just coincidentally happen to be on a flat plane and close to each other, that journey would be impossible on a plane.
On a disk.
On a disc.
Right, on a disk. Very
On a
specifically a disk. Yeah.
On a disc. But if it's not a disc, then it's only possible on a ball.
It's bollocks. So you're literally going to formulate this into an affirming the consequent? No, it just means the continents aren't where you show me the real map. Show me where they actually are then, Anthony. Then I'll agree with you.
Well, what I'm thinking is, if we can get to a point where we can agree that not necessarily we as in this panel, but the community as a whole, if we can get to a point where we can agree that this is only possible on a sphere.
No, it's not. How many times do we have to say this, Riley? Stop presenting this false dichotomy to me, Riley. There are more options, one of which I just explained.
We don't have a map, Tony.
I'll say that this can't happen on a disc or a rectangular Earth because of the distances involved.
No,
right,
it
but
can.
saying that it can only work on a sphere.
You obviously have no idea what that is.
Riley, I kind of missed the parameters of this flight. Where is it going again? What is this again?
From that Ushuaia in South America over to the western coast, the southwestern coast of Australia. And the only way that I can see that's possible is on a sphere.
On a sphere model with the continents laid out the way they've shown you on a sphere model. Not on a sphere. We can't possibly live on a sphere.
I know. So therefore, the flight can never take place. The flight will always cancel at some point for some reason, won't it?
Shout out to...
But here's another problem.
Bear. Thank you for the super chat.
You forget one other problem with it too, Riley, is the Antarctic Treaty, that you can't travel below the...
I
know,
but
but I'm
just
saying,
it's not my problem if they're quoting me to do that journey.
The map? You want me to show to you?
I've got something to say about the Antarctic Treaty.
Why it's not that difficult?
So there's a couple of stories of people being stopped. What is it, the 60th parallel or something? Where does it start? Where's the demarcation line for the Antarctic Treaty? Anybody?
Right, I get this point. I understand this point. My point is that if they price it, it's not our problem to deal with the Antarctic Treaty. What I mean is, if they have to cancel it because of it, then we'll say, then you can't fly over the globe, can you? Because they've said that they can do it, and they've provided me with a quote, which is sending me on email, and I don't mind presenting it if I get it whilst we're live. But if that trip then fails for some reason, then there needs to be a reason for that, doesn't there? And who cares what the reason is? But if that trip fails, then they can't do it.
Okay. Is my screen presented? Or Riley, are you looking?
Hang on.
Yeah, you're presented. Got the gold
Right.
pieces up.
So a pretty basic conceptualization of the rectangular looping map. So this is kind of literal. So this is sort of to scale.
Hold on one
as
second,
in
Darwin.
it's not
Sorry.
being warped
Hey,
or
new guest.
presupposed
Can you
around
hear
a
us?
circle.
Hello, new guest. Strange writing. Hear us?
Gonna have to go, Nathan.
I'm gonna kick him.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
kick him.
Okay, so look at this map. So can you see my mouse pointer also?
Yeah, you're on the Gauss-Peterson projection, right?
Right. This is the rectangular looping map. The best way to represent it that I can find. So here you go in a straight line from east or from west to east. Boom.
Right.
Argentina. You bypass South Africa. You can even go past the ice wall.
Right,
and
but
then
listen,
circle back.
would you agree that you
So how
wouldn't
deep
go
would
over
you
the
have
ice?
to go in order to fool the people that you're actually going straight through over a circle?
Arwen, would you
Chris.
agree that you wouldn't go? Arwen, listen, would you agree you're not going to go over the ice if you go that way?
You could, partially.
But then
You
you're
could
going to add. Then you're going to run out of fuel.
You could go a little bit further south and then travel again, still laterally, horizontally.
Yeah, but listen,
parallel
the
to
more
the
you deviate
equator,
from that-
and then travel over the ice. As long as you don't see the sea to your left while you're doing it, you could fool your people, the public in the plane, that you're actually traveling straight over the disk island continent, as proposed.
Right, listen. Let me put it to you this way: the plane's got a limited range. It can't go beyond too much because you're pushing it. You're right on the limits anyway when you've got that distance on a ball, right? But if you're going to suggest that they can deviate to fool you, right, you haven't got the range in the tank to be able to do that with confidence, knowing that you're going to run out of fuel because you're literally just getting there on fumes.
I don't know. I don't know how far this would be to make a circle like this. I don't know.
It's 10,000, just over 10,000 kilometers, the way they tell us on a sphere, right? 10,000,
And how about
10,200
here?
kilometers. And it's only got a range of 11,000 kilometers. So you've only got like 700 or 800 kilometers play. Not that much.
Okay, let's see. This is let's see. Talk about distances. This is to scale. So I'm gonna count the square, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. Let's just say 15 squares. Okay, over here, that's between California. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? 11, 12, 15. Yeah, that would be halfway around the world. I don't know. Could from California could you go directly to Turkey? They'd probably stop somewhere along the way, but could a plane go there? If they could make that distance, then they could probably make the distance from Argentina to Australia over the ice. They'd probably need extra fuel tanks or whatever.
Well, this is the extended range.
Flights.
This is the extended range version of this plane, and it's the longest one that's out there. And
right.
So yeah, let me. If I share my screen, Nathan.
Sure. Proves nothing. I don't know why we're arguing about it, but feel free.
Possibilities.
So
while you guys are sharing that screen, I just wanted to mention, like, if you guys are chartering a flight, you guys can actually go up into the cockpit and ensure that the pilot's not deviating anything. I'm a globe earther, and I would be willing to donate to your guys' thing to like help you guys do this. I don't got much money, but I would be willing to watch a flat earther, right, be in the cockpit as the pilot not only is planning this flight, but actually navigating across in a straight line across Antarctica from the western coast of Australia and do that. Like, if you're charting a flight, you can do that. Yeah.
Now, my point is that if you look at it on what they tell us is their model, that's not their model, but is their model, but it's not. Then you've got the southern tip of South America, and then you have to fly over ice for a significant portion of it, and you're very close to that South Pole. And then when you pop out the other side, you're in Perth. That's pretty much the nearest point to Australia. And it says on their projection, that's not really a projection, it is 10,800 kilometers, right, to get you into Perth International. Now, 10,800 kilometers. So just remember that, because when you go to the details for this particular plane, this is the G650 is whatever it's called, but the extended range, that's what that stands for. you've got it's got the maximum range. This is like this is the maximum range when it's empty is 13,890 kilometers. But that's not when it's fully laden. When you've got it fully laden, you take some off, because he said to me, if you're taking all these passengers and you're taking all luggage, that'll come down because you'll use more fuel. He said that's when it's unladen. So whatever that value is, take a little bit off it. So it goes from 13,890. I don't know what it'll go down to, but if you compare it to the overall distance, it's 13,800. You've got 3,000 kilometers, which gives you a distance of about 13,800. So he doesn't actually work it on distance; he works it on flight time. 13 hours is the maximum duration, he says, and he reckons that will take 13 hours. And I don't necessarily disagree with him. But what if this isn't far enough?
Do they mention average cruising speeds?
Yeah.
Right. So they do.
So the cruise speed is saying 900 kilometers an hour. So we could do some maths on this to work this, and we could basically cherry pick to get the right blend of which airport because we don't necessarily have to fly from the one further south. We could probably do it somewhere like, I don't know whether you get further up here, but to push the limits, as long as it's within the duration of where that plane can actually fly according to the specs that they tell us, then we can probably extend that out so we don't have to go as extreme. But my point is that you've got to fly over the ice. Now, for Arwin's claim, which is, I get it, you'd have to fly. You wouldn't go over the ice on the Mercator project or the Gauls-Peterson projection, right? It would just be over water all the way.
No, that's not true. It can be over the ice. You just don't go that far south. I just explained that to you. Just go a little bit into just beyond the ice wall, as it were, and then you move. To the east straight over the ice. But yeah, as long as you don't see the sea to your left, you could just fool your public that you're going straight over the ice cap. And then
not if you're in a charter flight.
I'm not so sure. Well, anyway, my point is that if I get this...
Do you understand what I just said, please?
Yeah, you're saying take a deviation round this way, right? A straight line on a Gauls-Peterson projection, but a non-great circle route on a ball, right?
And you just move over just beyond the ice wall.
Right, I'm going to interrupt to do some shout outs. So, No Proof, thank you very much for the super chat. Earth is seriously flat, thank you also for the super chat, and a big shout out to Trish Blythe for smashing the super chat. Really appreciate all of your support. Thank you very much indeed.
Can I put a little intermission and then let these guys go at it again?
If you like. I'm tired of it, if I'm honest.
Okay, yeah. Here's the deal. If you're going to do this, you better have a pregnant lady on board that's giving birth. All right? Yeah. Second, if this was possible, the military has already done it with refueling aircraft in place, and they would be showing us those pictures. But since there is no space and they show us phony globes, again, we don't know what the Earth looks like.
I agree, but wouldn't that be our point, that this flight would never ever be able to take place?
Well, because it's called Disappearance of Malaysia Flight 370, Anthony. I ain't getting on that thing.
What, you mean that you think they might actually bring the plane down?
What do you think? What do you think if it was actually going to happen and it was broadcast?
In that case, then, we open it up to the globe earthers and we put Jeremy on it and Mark Taylor and all them lot. Stick them on the plane, and if they come back the other side, we know it's a globe.
It's already been done, though, right? You started this conversation by saying that Greater Sapien had attempted to book a flight for 20 grand that he raised along with a load of other people, and it didn't take place. So, what do you want?
Yeah, but he claims he was a victim of a scam, though, doesn't he?
Right. Well, that's the point, isn't it? Somebody like you has gone and chartered a flight, arranged for it to be done, raised the funds, and then it hasn't taken place. That's exactly the scenario we're left with. Now, regardless of the reasons that Greater Sapien claims, it didn't happen.
Yeah, so I guess what the question then would be, well, what would be the point in doing it again and just getting scammed again? But this is what I was going to. This is why I said, like, basically, if we were to put the money somewhere in a trust account, a solicitor's trust account, so it was paid from our point, but they hadn't taken it, we would always get the money back, and that would be protected. But yeah. I accept your point. Should we not just say that Greater Sapien tried to do it and he couldn't do it?
Yeah, because that's absolutely factually accurate.
Because that's the same as like Slice Barkane failing to demonstrate the curvature of the Earth with his pipes test. He's not got it. Slice Barkane did a pipes test, couldn't measure the curvature of the Earth, blamed whatever it was. I'm not sure what the blame was, but he blamed something, and he failed to demonstrate the curvature of the Earth.
Another pipe dream.
If all the stories,
Maybe he should just blame the lack of curvature. What the hell?
That's what I said to him. He said that there was anomalies. I was like, well, how many anomalies do there need to be before it becomes mathematically impossible for there to be curve? I said, you can have one more go with it, and if you don't get that curve, then it's not curved.
Another shout out to Earth is Seriously Flat for hitting the super chat. Thank you very much for all your support.
Sorry. Sorry, Nathan?
Just shouting out to super chatter, that was all.
The only way to
And we do have a baller on the panel. We might want to talk to him about his proof of all this.
The only way to prove it positive is to fly to within sight of the Antarctic and then try and fly along the coast of it, seeing it.
No, you'd have to fly over it. You'd have to fly over it on the coast.
No. If you get to within sight of the Antarctic, which they don't allow you to do anyway, but that's the only way you can prove it positive is to get within sight of it and then fly in a straight line and see if you have to go veer left or veer right. If you veer right, it means you're on a globe. If you veer left, it means you're on a globe. If you veer right, it means you're flat.
No,
that's the only way you can do it. You can't go from one country to another because we don't know the distances, do we?
Sorry, veering left means flat, veering right means globe. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, right. So the planes and their directions, it's not dictated by where the land is, it's dictated by whether or not we're spherical. Yeah, right.
Well, if you're on the coast, say you're flying along the coast of the Antarctic is at the bottom of the ball, and you'll always have to fly west, but you'll always have to veer left, wouldn't you?
Not on a ball.
Wouldn't you? You'd have to veer left all the time to go around the Antarctic on the bottom of the ball.
But nobody's doing that, and we seem to be going around in circles. Nobody's done it. It was arranged to be done by a globe head. It didn't happen.
Yeah, but that was a pole to pole, wasn't it?
We're not going in circles. You're going in a straight line.
Oh, none of us know the layout. That's
I'm
where
kidding,
this
I'm
starts
kidding,
and ends. So
I was just kidding. Sorry.
That was a pole to pole flight. You can do a pole to pole flight. It wouldn't prove nothing, would it?
Let me pose a question. You can get on a sailboat from California. There's plenty of YouTube videos, and go to Hawaii on an independent journey. And you see these Atlantic crossings from Europe to America as well. But we never see anything down to the so-called South Pole and around, or to go around. No one's able to do that. No one's able to video that. No one's able to get permission to do that. As Paul said, the Antarctic Treaty is in place for a reason. They don't want us to know something. East to west all day long, north to south.
Hey, I gotta.
I mean, if you think about it, they had this one big chance to have this, fantastic pole-to-pole flight, and it turned out to be a big joke. Even
it also goes down as a failure to prove the globe, right? Because it's like when Sly does his test, if he doesn't show that curvature, then he fails to show curvature for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what the reason is, he's failed to demonstrate the curve. Greater Sapien failed to demonstrate that flight can take place. The flight failed. It was predicted. Taboo Conspiracy said that flight will never happen, and I think that that's the same what would happen here. For whatever reason, it will not happen.
I do have to interject here that the Antarctic Treaty is appealing to conspiracy, which is a logical fallacy. Like, you guys can make the claim, but it's not actually proof of anything.
Right? Oh, really? So it's not a conspiracy.
You guys say something didn't happen.
Sorry, I think it falls under the category conspiracy when all world governments conspire not to allow anyone to go there.
Didn't hear the end of the claim. I didn't hear the end of the claim. So, CG, can you make what was your claim again?
But there are people who go there, and it's appealing to conspiracy to say they don't.
Go where?
to Antarctica.
Well, they say they go to Antarctica. We don't know the layout. We don't know where they're going.
They go south of Argentina, that specific spot. That's it. Just one spot.
Yeah, but it's appealing to conspiracy to say that we don't know where they're going. We do know where they're going. We can track their location. We can see them. We can see videos. Like you have to build a conspiracy, which is a logical fallacy, around the fact that you claim that we don't know.
You mean
no?
we
That's
can
not
speak
true. The
of-
Antarctic Treaty is a conspiracy because it's a world government. All governments conspired to do that, to make it like that, to not allow people to explore Antarctica.
You mean we could see videos of people on the moon?
Yes, and denying the moon landing is also appealing to conspiracy. There's evidence. You just
Not really.
have to deny the evidence to say.
No.
Now you're really
No.
joking.
Calling out that it's
Hold on.
conspiracy. I'm not.
You're saying it's conspiracy to not believe that they travelled through a second law of thermodynamics violation. That's not conspiracy. That's a natural. I hadn't quite finished. I'd stop them from over talking you, CG, but I hadn't quite finished my point. So that's not a conspiracy. That's a natural law.
So that's moving the goalpost, Nathan. But what I am
Sorry,
saying is that
not moving the goalposts. I'll say it again. Let me say it nice and slowly, nice and clearly. Nobody's travelling through the vacuum of the sky. There is no vacuum of the sky. If there was, we wouldn't be breathing, CG. That's not moving the goalposts. It's saying that the narrative where the moon landings take place is a sky vacuum. Now, sky vacuum is like Narnia. It's not real. Now, if you want to prove that we can have a sky vacuum, I might believe that something took place in it. But until you can prove that there's a natural law being violated in the sky, then no, they're not going to a vacuum, my friend. That's not moving the goalposts. It's the demolition of space.
Well, here's the thing. So going back to Antarctica, right? So we don't get too far off track here. Going back to Antarctica, you have to appeal to conspiracy to say that they don't let us go there. Like it's appealing to anonymous authority.
Excuse
you
me.
guys say
Are you denying the Antarctic Treaty?
Hold up.
No, but this is a direct.
Hold on, I can't shut him up when he talks over me and stop. Arwin. Hold on.
Let me say my sentence.
Go ahead, Craig.
So the thing is that you're saying you have to appeal to conspiracy and anonymous authority, right? By saying something like the world governments say that we can't go there. Like there are people who go there. There's evidence that they go there. We have video, we have eyewitness testimony of literally thousands of people, right? And we have circumnavigation maps that show that you can get there, that anybody can get there.
One
right?
specific spot. That's right. One location.
So what?
The magnetic South Pole.
No, not the magnetic South Pole, idiot. It's on the edge of Antarctica, south of, Argentina. There. That's the spot you can go to.
So
Nobody goes
So
beyond.
what?
I'm trying to wonder.
Is
Appealing
Nobody's
to
there.
is appealing to conspiracy a real thing? Is that like a fallacy?
No, I agree with the sentiment, actually.
Appealing to conspiracy, yes, is a fallacy.
I agree with
It's
this sentiment.
ridiculous.
He's saying we're claiming a piece of paper stops us. Well, no, I don't buy that. So, in one form or another, I agree with him.
Well, if you make a claim, that's fine, but then you have to provide evidence that there really is some type of plan to keep people from going to Antarctica.
Yeah, there is.
There's no
the
proof.
Antarctic Treaty does exist under UK law. I can show you it.
Yeah, but there are tons of people who go to Antarctica. So then you have to say,
Well, hang on.
thousands of people are
To
then
one
in the
location
conspiracy.
again. It's not about
Hang on.
touching the continent. It's about not being able to explore all of it and have mining and commercial activities. That's what it's about. Doesn't mean that you can never go to any of it. No, there's one spot where people can go. Very cut off. You can't go beyond a certain point. And it's not
I
very
Well,
believe-
so that's
I-
factually incorrect. You
No,
can't
that's
I
not
believe-
factually
multiple
incorrect.
I
spots.
believe
Where?
that, Arwen, I believe that it was Jeranism, I may be wrong, it could have been someone else, who did an actual show on this that showed that you can go to this body of government for your first step for permission. Then they send you to this next body of government for your second step. And the thing was so bureaucratic. And by the time you paid all the fees, it was in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you couldn't take certain things there. and it was all set up to deter people from ever doing it.
Yep.
So this guy who's on the panel here, he has a point, but he hasn't done his research to realize it's just make-believe to make you think you can go.
Sorry, but he's using conspiracy in a very bad new colloquial way.
No,
because
in the real sense of
conspiracy
what
is technically a conspiracy. People conspiring to do something, to decide something for secret reasons potentially, but they do it for a reason. And that's a
Well,
conspiracy.
Sure. Yeah,
So
but what
if there
I'm saying is you guys
contracts
are appealing to
worldwide
it as an argument.
contracts for the Antarctic Treaty, that's a confirmed conspiracy.
It's a hand wave to shut people off and make you look like you're crazy loony when you use the word conspiracy.
Okay, so Tin Man, that exact idea, that's the appeal to conspiracy logical fallacy that I'm pointing out right now.
Wait a minute.
Right? It's not,
Wait a
it's,
minute.
of course
Appeal.
there's the Antarctic Treaty.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. First of all, I can't hear you too well, so I apologize. But an appeal
Sorry.
to conspiracy, you're going to have to be a little bit more factual than that. Nathan said you can't have gas pressure without a container. It's a violation of the second law. Right? Did you hear that?
That's what Nathan said. That's what Nathan
now
said.
do you
yes.
hang on. Do you believe in the laws of nature? First and second law of thermodynamics.
What do you mean, do I believe in the second law of thermodynamics? What
Do you believe that there's natural laws in place with nature? For example, entropy. Do you believe in entropy?
Do I believe
what it is?
Do I believe that entropy can describe some processes that we see? Yes.
No. Okay, so what is entropy? Describe entropy in your terms.
I mean, you just quoted it, the second law of thermodynamics, the fact that a gas, if it introduced into a perfect system, right, theoretical, a perfect system that is a vacuum will disperse into the vacuum.
Okay. So why when I say that the governments that you are saying have all these things in place and people go and it's not off limits, why can't I just turn your argument around and say that they, using invalid evidence violating the second law of thermodynamics, are telling us we can go into a vacuum in space, the sky vacuum? Why is that not a conspiracy?
Well, you can't turn it around because that's a sine qua non logical fallacy, right? I don't have to prove the inverse of something to make your point true.
No, but if the second law says a vacuum can't exist next to gas pressure, and then the governments are saying yes it can, what say you?
I think what you're trying to do right now is
no, just answer the question. If the Queen of England and Donald Trump say today, and put the China guy too, if the governments of the world say, look, there's a vacuum and we got gas pressure next to it, are you going to believe them when you know the second law says, you know what, I think these people are crazy?
No, well, specifically what the second law says, I mean, I know Nathan really likes to quote it, but the deal is that the second law says that in a perfect system, a gas will distribute into a vacuum, in a closed system, more specifically, right? Well,
right, but
the vacuum. Excuse me, hold up. The vacuum, as described, right, by NASA, for example, right, which you guys have to appeal to conspiracy to also discount that too, is not a closed system by any means. In fact, it's the definition of an open system.
Yeah,
right?
So entropy would be more likely to take effect. The fact that they describe it in an isolated system for simplicity of explanation doesn't mean it doesn't apply to an open system, you bonehead.
The Tor value at sea level is just above 700. The Tor value of Mount Everest is 28,000. The Tor value in a vacuum of space is 10 to the minus 17 Tor. Where is the barrier?
Hold on. So let me just get something clear with you, CG. Because the second law is described to be in an isolated system, do you feel that it only applies to isolated systems?
No, it doesn't only apply to isolated systems.
Oh, right. So it applies equally well to open systems then?
That's a logical fallacy there.
It's a statement of fact. Entropy applies.
No.
Open or closed, it applies.
No, actually, that's the difference. So open and closed are very different systems. The laws of thermodynamics are there for us to help calibrate base calculations so that we can make inferences in non-closed systems, right? So we can generally describe
Non-closed, that would be open.
Yes. So what
So
happens when you
open
get an open
systems.
system is that
No worries.
other laws kick
No
in,
worries.
right?
No
Like,
worries. So you're saying an open system is capable of having gas pressure next to a vacuum. That's what you're saying.
if there are multiple forces acting on it, of course.
So show me that, please.
Show you that?
Are you deaf?
The forces.
Why would you say it with an upward inflection like that's horrifying or like that's somehow surprising that I would ask you to prove the shit that you're spouting? Yeah, if you want to claim gas can exist in an open system next to a vacuum, show me.
If there are multiple forces acting on it,
Yeah,
yes.
I don't care what your caveat is. Show it me.
No, well, hold up. If you're going to invoke
Really?
the laws of thermodynamics,
Multiple forces.
then you have to, and then also I get drilled about the idea like, oh, don't you accept natural laws? Then we have to say, okay, if we're going to work on a real system, an open one, and not a closed one that the second law of thermodynamics helps us give a base of, then we have to work with all of the laws. You don't get to just cherry pick. Okay, I like the second law.
Sorry,
because
I'm
it,
sick
like,
of
fits
this.
the narrative.
Why are you giving me this
You're the one
long-winded
that's
word
making
salad?
exceptions,
Arwin,
not
why are you
Nathan.
giving me this long-winded word salad rather than just showing proof of your claim? Your claim being that gas can exist in an open system next to a vacuum. Now prove it. Don't give me word salad about what I've cherry-picked. It's a natural law. That law dictates that the gas would fill the space. So you're saying it's not the case. Now show us.
But
Sure.
Nathan, he's not even
The
cherry
space,
picking.
Not
the
you,
space shuttle
Arwen.
re-entering
Not
the
you, Arwen.
atmosphere. Sure,
Sorry.
the space shuttle re-entering the atmosphere. So it was in
Sorry,
it was in
the
a
space
relative
shuttle
vacuum,
re-entering
right?
the
And then it
atmosphere.
began-
So you're
and then it
assuming.
began- hey, hold up,
Sorry.
Nathan, you don't get
No,
to-
no, no,
don't
no, no,
get
no,
to
no,
interrupt
no,
me.
no,
I
no.
didn't interrupt
Stop.
you. Okay, I
Stop.
didn't interrupt you.
Stop. Don't go to your bloody priests. How dare you? So you're saying that the space shuttle was in a vacuum, was it?
It was in a pretty darn close to a vacuum situation.
No, it
and then
wasn't. That's
began
my
to enter
point.
the atmosphere.
No, it wasn't.
And
That
we
violates
have
a
eyewitnesses.
natural law,
And we have
CG.
eyewitness
No, it
testimony.
wasn't. That's why we're saying it doesn't happen that way. That's why they don't go to the moon. That's our argument for why they aren't re-entering from a vacuum. So to say
Yeah,
that they
that's
are,
appeal to
that's
conspiracy,
Craig.
Nathan.
Can you stop
Ridiculous.
talking?
That's
Yeah,
appeal to
Craig.
conspiracy.
Craig. There's a very specific claim. Now let's not talk about what your priests do and that we are very specifically debunking in this. We're saying no, they don't go to the moon in shuttles because you can't have a vacuum next to pressure. Now you're saying you can, and your evidence of it is the thing we're debunking with that statement. No,
Oh,
no,
so there's
no,
the thing,
no,
Nathan. You
no,
have to-
no.
you're
We would
debunking.
like
What you're
an
debunking
example. A
is trying
Why are
to
you
appeal to
talking over me?
conspiracy.
Why are you giving me
That's
word
not
salad?
debunking, Nathan.
Yeah,
That's
shut
not
up then.
Could you
debunking.
stop repeating the same fallacy
Yeah,
again and
it's
again?
just
like
repeating the
it's getting
same
really
shit like
redundant and
Rumpus
ridiculous.
does.
Yeah, and it's
Oh, but
even
the
worse than
problem is
that.
that you're
Dude,
doing
shut
it.
up.
Shout out to Retro Bill for the super chat. Thank you very much indeed.
Cherry picking with the laws of nature.
I'll ask him again. Let's
Well,
see if he does it or
you
gives
were
us word
exactly the
salad.
one doing that, and not me.
Arwin, CG, you have claimed gas pressure can exist in an open system next to a lower pressure system. So I want to see that. Not word salad, not descriptions, a demonstration, please, of your fundy belief in a sky vacuum that rockets can travel through. Demonstrate that is
So-
possible. Don't point at the sky and what your priests have done that we're debunking. Prove you can have gas pressure without containment.
Sure. If you go to NASA right now, you
So
can
straight to the
see-
priests. I've
Yep,
just
you can
said
see-
that's
you can
what
see
we're
a video of
debunking.
someone
That's what we're
in a
debunking.
gas pressure
Are you dumb?
look- or
Are you
in gas
deaf?
pressure look
Are you
at
dense?
us in gas
Are you dumb? No, don't go to the very thing we're debunking. We're saying they can't
you
have
don't like it
rockets
when
in
you-
space
you're appealing to
because
conspiracy,
space
that's
can't be real. Now, for it to be real, you'd need to be able to demonstrate gas pressure without a container. Now, don't go to NASA and tell me what they've done and point at the
So
sky.
you don't like the evidence. You don't like the evidence. That's what it is, Nathan.
Are you fucking dense? We're debunking it based on its violation of a law of nature. And you're saying that them violating a law of nature is proof they can violate the law of nature. No, dumb fuck. You want to laugh about this, dumb fuck? Yeah, you're dumb. Yeah, That's called circular reasoning. We say they can't possibly be travelling in spaceships in a vacuum because the gas would fill the space. And you say, I prove it. Look, they're travelling in spaceships. You circular reasoning using moron.
In spaceships.
Yeah, you're a circular reasoning using moron. You don't even realise that you're using circular reasoning. You don't use the rockets we say can't exist in a sky vacuum to prove that rockets can exist in a sky vacuum. You dumb moron.
Nathan, you don't
That's
get
a
to
George
just say,
Nathaniel laugh.
Circular
you
reasoning.
give me evidence.
Stop
You
talking
give
and just
me evidence. I
answer
gave
me
you evidence,
this.
You didn't like the evidence, and then you had
We're
to use a black
debunking the evidence because it violates a law of nature. You don't seem to be getting this. You keep saying that the evidence we're debunking is true because that's the evidence. That's called circular reasoning.
Well, if this is all this guy has left is using the word conspiracy and laughing afterwards, then he would have to say that he believes the government has never, ever conspired against its citizenry.
He's a statist, fanatic madman.
I've removed him because he's literally laughing at you, Nathan.
Yeah, just it's troll. Yeah, if we say, no, you can't be travelling through a sky vacuum in rockets because the gas would fill the space and we'd all be dead, and you say, no, the vacuum is proven by the very lie we're debunking, that's absolutely useless.
Yeah, you might as well just say, just look at the atmosphere. The proof is the atmosphere. Look, that's the proof of the sky vacuum. Go outside and look at it.
Yeah, we're
Same
debunking
shit.
the fact that NASA can't be there, and he says, look at pictures from NASA. They prove it. Oh, right, well, we'll zombify, walk aimlessly towards our TV sets, look at it and go, yeah, they've got it on a TV screen. Also, Superman's real.
You know, you even gave him the open system.
Narnia.
NASA believes in the closed system, but you even gave him both ways.
Yeah, they're never going to demonstrate gas pressure existing next to a vacuum or without a container, which is what Earth in space is claimed to be. That's a violation of a law of nature. It's the beginning and end of the argument.
And he was ridiculously accusing you of cherry picking with the laws of nature. You probably didn't even hear this. He's accusing you of cherry pickings with the laws of nature, while you were you were the one actually not doing that, and he was doing it. It was so ridiculously hypocritical. It's total straw man.
Got a new guest. Hey,
Yes.
Darren. How you doing?
Hello.
Very good to have you.
Thank you. Been a long time trying to get joined.
So what's your story, Darren? I don't think you've ever joined before, have you?
I haven't, no. I used to be a Glober, and I'm believing more and more in the flat Earth, sort of day by day, video by video. I've got a few sort of burning questions that I need to sort of clarify, and total convincing myself of a flat Earth, really.
Shoot, go ahead.
Number one, we're told that the sun's rays takes 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach us. And I can sort of confirm this. I live in West Wales, and I stand upon a mountain, get a clear view of the sunrise. When I see the sunrise, the light doesn't actually hit my face for around 8 minutes and 20 seconds, and then I can actually, it's hit my face. So my question is if the sun and the moon is contained within a dome, how is that possible? Surely it would take seconds rather than minutes.
That's how do you conclude that it's taking that time for it to hit you? Because observing light is the light actually having reached you. That's how sensories work. So that doesn't make any sense. If there's a delay, you would be incapable of noticing it.
Right. So when I actually physically see the sun rising above the horizon,
then the sunlight's gone into your eye already, right? Feeling the heat from the sun isn't the same as seeing the light from the sun. You understand that,
is refracted in the atmosphere, basically. Light, when it appears, it refracts in all directions. It scatters.
Right. Yeah. Never thought of it that way. Thought of it that way.
Fair enough. Next. What was the other one? You said you had several.
Can't remember now. I mean, I've done lots of experiments myself. I'm invested in a P1000 But I'm using a telescope at the moment down in West Wales, and again, I see the Irish ferry sail out sort of every day at 3 o'clock, and it disappears over the horizon. And when I get my telescope out, it's back there again. So yeah, I mean, I haven't actually managed to see Ireland as yet, which I think is about 30 something miles away. But you know, the weather's so unpredictable down here. There's a lot of sort of sea spray and stuff, which obviously messes around with the observations. But you know, it's I'm sort of 99.9% sure that it's flat. And you know, it's just getting the word out, isn't it? That's the hardest part, really.
Have you observed any? Oh, sorry. Have you observed any interesting miraging effects?
Yes, exactly the same as what Ranty Flat Earth did the other weekend, where the bottom of the boat seemed to sort of disappear. The length of it seemed to stay the same, but the height of it just seemed to diminish.
Okay. Would you like to present some of it on the show?
I haven't. I could do. Yeah. Like I say, I should in a couple of weeks. I should have my P1000, and I will get down to the beach and start doing some more filming, and then I'll be able to present something.
Yet. Right.
I don't have it yet. No.
No,
My
me
telescope
neither.
is-
Please go to my Arwin's GoFundMe page to help me out. My P1000.
I might help you out.
Oh, really? Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm finding it hard trying to explain things to family, and they don't seem to get it. But I think people will eventually. But you know, it's a slow process, and obviously it's very difficult for us to prove things. It's even harder to prove a whole Earth, which is why I'm going down the road of flat Earth, really.
Right. What do you think about the heavens, about the celestial bodies and all that? Have you ever considered them to be not physical?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you know, I mean, everything that comes out of NASA is fake as far as I'm concerned. You know, I mean, I've looked through the telescope. I've seen Saturn. I've seen its rings. But the resolution is you know, just unreal, really. I mean, it was to say that I'm not looking at something the size of a tennis ball, you know, a few thousand miles away. You know, it's exactly the same as if you're looking at a building, you know, as far as you can see, you know, a couple of hundred miles away, probably with a telescope. The resolution is going to look abysmal, exactly the same as when you're looking at the planets, really.
All right.
I would imagine that everything is you know, well, just a light in the sky, like
right.
Allegedly Dave says. You know, it's within the dome, the firmament.
But could you imagine, for example, that if you're standing on the Earth at night and looking at it with a telescope at some planet, for example, in the sky at a certain angle, you would see it, but then say you could somehow really quickly move directly towards it, the balloon or hovering device.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that when you do that, it's very unlikely you're going to end up face to face with that planet?
And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive thank you to all of you who hit the super chat today. Huge support. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you who tuned in live. Massive thanks to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. If you need to keep yourself occupied after this stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!